All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of So What Do You Know About Business? This is the podcast where it's 5 women entrepreneurs, and we meet every Thursday for happy hour and just talk lessons learned in business. Or like this week, we're going to talk about a specific topic, which I'm so excited about. So I'm your host. I'm Erin Smith. You can always join us over in our Facebook group if you go to bit.ly/nobusiness. You can sign up there, or you can find us on iTunes at bit.ly/nobiz, and the no is K-N-O-W in both of those. Excuse me. So this is the part where we go around and we introduce ourselves, and since it is happy hour, drinking is not required, but it is recommended. So if you have a cocktail, be sure to tell us what you're drinking. So let's see, who I'm going to go first. Andrea, I'll go with you first today.
Excellent. My name's Andrea Trevelyan. I help small business owners master their wealth so they can go do what they want. I keep playing with what I do, so there we go. How I phrase what I do. And this week I am having a grapefruit vodka.
Awesome. Always bring in the vodka. Chandra, I'm going to go you next.
Hi, I am Chandra Achberger. I am a serial entrepreneur / artist. I am also always changing my intro and just looked up on how to, there's people that help you with snippets, your little snippets. So I hopefully work on that. I am drinking Dukeman Family Winery, which they have their, I'm a member. They have their quarterly wines just came out. Every quarter they have special wines that come out. So I went to pick up my red and white box yesterday. Happy.
I love wine. It's like the gift that keeps on giving. We only do 2 a year, so we have it semi. But God, it's like
well, yes. This is right down the block, and it's I mean, it's down the block. I'm in the country, but it's like 5 miles from my house, and it's just like these old, epic, like Texan stone buildings with like vines growing all over the place, and they have it's like awesome. You guys, when you come to visit, we'll hang out at the winery.
Yeah, we need to talk about that. I want to talk about South by Southwest. So anyway, maybe we'll have time at the end. All right, Megan.
Hey everyone, I'm Megan from meganflat.com, and I help mom entrepreneurs build and grow their dream business so they can do everything that's important to them and find the time for it. And I am drinking, it's 3 o'clock in California, so I am drinking my coffee. It's either my second or third for the day. My kids have been off school all week, so I've been burning the candle at both ends, literally, to get stuff done this week. So it's definitely a caffeine-fueled week for me.
Very nice. All right, Taylor, we got you next.
Hello. I am Taylor Stevens, freelance writer, marketer, and dancer/actress. So funny because I was thinking the same thing. Like, I need to really get this intro down and like succinct and yeah, but fulfill everything that I guess I am. Anyway, I just realized how parched I was, and I don't have a drink right now, but I think I'm going to try to limit alcohol consumption. Not that I have an issue or anything, but I'm on this new drink, and it's so funny because it sounds a little sketchy, but it's really not. I met this guy in this stone, like it's called like this sacred stone shop.
This is so sketchy, Taylor. But keep going. I met this guy who was on the street corner with a drink, but keep going.
But it's legit. Okay, I got introduced via another person. He's like an agriculture guy. He has studied soil forever. But basically, it's a regenerative gut drink. So it helps, your whole system down there. But it's like sage honey, like the purest form of it, ancient hibiscus flower, probiotics, trace minerals, spirulina, and E3 Live. So it's like basically the essential nutrients body needs. So I'm like, I find out like and I'm actually feeling really good, but it's supposed to help. Like I have issues with digestion and like my skin. So stay tuned. I'll let you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you try that out. Give us a few. Okay. Give us a little bit of feedback on it. You should cut out gluten.
I think it's good.
I'm telling you, gluten will do wonders.
Well, I actually have cut out a lot of stuff. Like my stomach's really, I can't do red meat or dairy. And gluten I really don't have an issue with, but I do have an issue with wheat. So It's a weird balance.
I gotcha. All right. Well, I'm Erin Smith. I am with the Starters Club. I have a business where basically the Starters Club is all about helping people build and grow their businesses organically. And I am drinking beer because I'm revved up for this conversation because we talked about this, and I'll segue into what we're going to talk about tonight. Because there was a forum that a lot of us belong to, and I think everybody who doesn't belong to it belongs to it now. But it was about Fiverr, and it was basically about I'm going to paraphrase it, but you're a really crappy business owner if you go to Fiverr and use it for your business. Now, me personally, I use Fiverr. Not for everything, but there's little things that, yeah, you know what, I could probably do it myself, but I don't want to spend the time to learn it. And the thing is, if I did it myself, a $5 job is probably going to look better than me doing it myself. So there's just things I use it for very quickly. I think, as somebody who used to sell creative services for a corporation, I think sometimes stuff is overpriced. And I'm a firm believer, and this is what I teach my students and my clients, that when you're starting, just start. Like, you don't need $5,000 for a logo and branding design. That's not where you need to be spending your money right now. You apply the money to what's going to help you grow, and then invest where you need it to. So the conversation was interesting. We talked about it pre-show. I call it almost business shaming. Like, a lot of people are like, you're cheap, and you're always going to be cheap in your business if you use Fiverr, which I don't tend to agree with. I think if you're using it for everything always, and that's your only, yeah, probably, but there's some things that Fiverr is very useful for. And as a business owner, it's up to you to create value. You know, for what I teach, you can Google everything that I teach. You can go out and Google it, okay? But I've had years of experience, so you're going to get that. You're going to get a community behind it. So it's that added value. I'm not saying I'm teaching anything new. I'm just teaching my experience. I remember in my previous businesses, I'd have the Groupons of the world. People shopping me. Well, I can go get that for X amount. And I'm like, good, go get it. If you get a great deal, that's fantastic. But 75% of the time, I'm going to charge you my rate to fix what you just had done. So go. I don't care. Or when those people burn out because they're charging you so cheap, I'm still going to be here. So great, go get it. But I can't wait to have this conversation with you guys, because I know on the creative side, people are justifying why they charge what they charge. And I'm of the belief, work with the people who are willing to pay you what you charge. Don't get pissy about Fiverr. And I don't think you're a bad business owner if you start using Fiverr. If that means it's going to get you started and helping people, then frickin' use Fiverr all day long. Like, that's how I look at it. But if it's, you know, if it's preventing you because you feel like you have to spend and people are making you feel bad because you're not spending $1 bajillion on your business, then I think that's wrong. So I'm going to open it up. I don't know if you guys just want to pop in, or Andrea, you want to start? Totally up to you.
I'll start.
Okay, go for it. Calm down.
Thanks. It's actually funny that you started with, like, when you're just starting out, you don't necessarily want to spend your money on this giant design, because I'm in this group coaching program, and I just got off our call, and the leader of the group straight up said that exact thing. He's like, when you're trying to narrow in your market and you're getting established and you're working on your funnel, you don't want to spend thousands upon thousands on this design that you're going to have to go back and change. But I always look at it as, you know, there's a place for paying for super high quality, and then there's some things you don't pay for. I use Fiverr for some things and some things for not. I pay tons for a really nice website, but then if I need a graphic for like a new giveaway that I'm doing, I'm not gonna pay $100+ for it. I'm gonna go to Fiverr and get it done. The other thing is, if you haven't been to Fiverr lately, you can upcharge now on Fiverr. So people are really good quality people are starting to move over there, because now it's not just you only have the $5 option. So people can like service ad. And then I do really think there's different things that you want to go there for, and there's things you don't want to go there for. I would highly recommend you don't go get financial advice from Fiverr. But my transcriptionist is in the Philippines and on Fiverr, and she's amazing. She is 100% better than anybody I have hired here in the U.S. and paid more than double for. So it is about where are you at in your business? What are you hiring it out? What are you hiring out? But then at the same time, where does that fall in your line of services? If you're launching a premium program, you probably want to go get the nice designer. If you're launching a freebie, go get the cheapie. Like it is what it is. It's not an either or. It's not black or white. It's you have to pick and choose the right time and place for it.
Okay, I'm going to jump in, and so I'm going to agree with you. First, so like it's like the confessional. Like I totally use Fiverr for certain things too, and I want the name of your transcriptionist. So we'll talk about that offline.
She's awesome.
Cheapos.
No, but here, so I'm actually gonna defend the forum post and the Facebook thread. And maybe I didn't read the whole thing or didn't read it in detail, but I actually don't think that was what was being said. I don't think what was being said is if you use Fiverr, you're ruining your business or you're cheaping your business or you're, that wasn't what I read into it. What I read into it is actually just what Andrea just said about like, hey, don't get financial advice from, Fiverr. It's like, don't go buy sushi at 7-Eleven. Like you kind of have to know like what you're getting yourself into. And I think that if you're going, I felt like what the thread was saying, and this is also my stance, is that like know what you're paying for and don't expect top quality copywriting. Don't expect financial advice. Don't expect premium design services from Fiverr. It's not about not using those services. It's about the expectations of what you're going to get. So you get what you pay for. And I agree exactly with what Andrea said. If you've got a freebie that's coming out and you need, I think someone was talking about like, oh, I needed my PDF converted to a 3D book cover. Or I know for us, we've used Fiverr for podcast intros and things like that, or being able to access services overseas where you can find some amazing person in the Philippines where you're really giving them a very good living wage and you're able to bootstrap your business. Like I think those are all completely legitimate reasons. But if you go in thinking you're going to get premium design services or financial advice or premium copywriting services and then you're annoyed that other people are charging more, then I felt like that was where the discussion was. But maybe I didn't pay super close attention.
See, I took it as, we got an echo. There was this, I looked at it as shaming a little bit because it was like if you get a logo from Fiverr, I'm full disclose. My logo right now is from Fiverr. Do I believe it's the best logo in the whole world? No, I don't. Is there going to be a point where I redo my logo? Absolutely. And my website and everything's going to get redone. But for starting out, I just was like, but I feel like a lot of people get really defensive of Fiverr, and I think that's where, because I think there are some things that are overpriced. You know what I mean? But if that's what you want to charge, that's what you want to charge, and I'm totally cool with that. I'm going to go to Fiverr to get some simple things that I know you would charge $150 for, and I feel like people get really defensive that, I can think of a YouTube channel graphic. I was going to hire somebody in the States, and they're going to charge me $150 for it, and I'm like, I'll go to Fiverr. Like I don't see the value, but there's some things I absolutely see the value in to charge $150 for that. But I feel like there's a lot of people on the defense that if you don't pay $200, $300, I had one friend charging $5,000 for a logo. If you don't charge that you aren't taking your business seriously, and that's what I disagree with. Like I think there's some things that are overpriced. I just do. For some things, and I don't think if you, like we were saying, if you want to jump to Fiverr for a quick thing, I don't think you're a bad business owner. But I agree if you're going to cheap your whole way through your business. But I just took the conversation as there's a lot of people talking. Well, so and so didn't think this through, and now I'm redoing her work. It's like, redo her work, like charge her a premium and redo her work. There's nothing wrong. Don't put her down for it. She was doing the best that she could in that circumstance, in that situation, and charge her premium. Like, don't put her down and bitch about her. Like, charge her premium and redo it. Like, that's how it works. So that's why I felt like the shaming was going on.
Well, and you can approach that too from like, instead of being like, oh, I can't believe she went there, be like, yay, another one that went there. I get to fix them. I actually hear that from attorneys a lot. People that do like their LLC and their corporation registration through like a LegalZoom or whatever, they're not always right for every state, and there's lots of loopholes. And I talk to attorneys that like, we love it because then we get to save them. So instead of being like, oh, I can't believe they did that, be like, yeah, I get another client for me to fix it.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
As a former designer, like I have to I weigh in for like design. I mean, I used to design e-commerce solutions and sites, and have done lots of graphic work. And I started out and totally got burnt. I mean, I'm talking about in the early 2000s, the early oddies, where you could charge a lot. I was charging not very much compared to everyone else because I was just starting out. And the same that happens to a lot of people, you get burned out or whatever, as Erin mentioned. And I'm not against Fiverr at all. And I just think, and as years went on, and even up until recently when I was running Moxie Moguls, I was starting at sites were in, triple or quadruple digits, right? We're not talking about cheap sites that I was making for people. We're talking about e-commerce. But I would tell people would be like, oh, I'm starting this business. And I would be like, hey, go here, or this is the person for you to talk to because this is where you are right now. And yes, somebody who has a big brand. If you are a big brand, then you don't want to go to Fiverr for somebody who's going to probably give that same logo to someone else. Just realize your expectation, as Megan said, right? Like, it's just like, know what you're getting, and you can also, like, you can get 3 or 4 people to work on the same project, right? And not feel like you've lost. I've gone into clients who have spent thousands of dollars with a designer and still had to rebuild everything, tear it apart. The code was bad. The design didn't fit, everything throughout. It wasn't consistent. And that was people charging thousands of dollars as well. So, I mean, it's just like, if somebody else can take business away from you, like from the designer standpoint, and I mentioned this before the show, and it's just the same for any artist, especially photographers, painters, service providers as well, right? If somebody can charge a lot less than you and provide the same value that you can provide, then by all means, I would counsel somebody to be like, go to that other person, even if it was me that was doing it, right? So you either need to level up or just pipe down, right? I mean, because like Fiverr is not going to compete with a website that I can make. Like, it's just not. And I'm like, I got burned out on that business and don't want to do that anymore, but I never would complain. And the same with photographers. I've started help people start up a lot of photography businesses, and they're like, this person is charging this much for like all the pictures, and I'm like, but they can't take the same photographs as you can. And if they can do that, then yes, somebody should be able to pay $300 and get like 200 pictures. But if you're playing your best game you can, then you should be providing more value than that. Otherwise, get out of the game is the way I feel about it. But I think Fiverr is great I use it I haven't used it in a while, but I use it sometimes even to get unstuck. Like, I will hire a writer to do an about page or some type of profile for me when I can't write my own profile, and I'll send them an outline and be like, write this, and then they'll send it back because it's a different perspective I have for $5, and then I could just rewrite and be like, oh, I was just stuck on this wording of the way I thought of myself on paper, So there's tons of different uses for it, and I'm totally against like judgment and shaming anyone for using anything. Like, if you can find the same outfit at Nordstrom Rack that you can at Nordstrom, like, get the one at Nordstrom Rack, right? Like, everyone will be happier, and you will still be wearing the same exact thing. And not to say, there are certain things that if you can afford a good graphic designer, then by all means get a good graphic designer to help out your brand. But for the stuff that's in between, and there is a lot of stuff, it's constant with the way social media is now. I mean, we have to constantly have graphics, and it's just pretty much impossible to run a sustainable business and always pay someone who charges, you know, $400 or $500 for a graphic, right? I mean, for one graphic that you're going to use on one page for 2 weeks. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, you actually said something that brought up another point in my mind was, you know, there's good providers and there's bad providers on every platform. So for every bad Fiverr person there's a phenomenal Fiverr person. And for every great, you know, independently run graphic designer charging top level, there's a crappy one and a great one. I know a local company that their revenues are in the multiple millions, and they hired one of those giant companies to build their websites, and it was a disaster. And like you said, they had to do it from ground up. So you can't just blame the platform, because there's good and bad everywhere.
Yeah, Taylor, what were you going to say? So you're trying to jump in.
Yay! Well, I was going to say, well, yes, use with discretion, and we're totally all on the same level right now in terms of how we feel about it. There is a point in your business, especially at the beginning, where when it comes to baby steps and first starting out, and also the freebies like Andrea was saying, like, yes, use at your discretion if that's what you need to do to get started, or if that's what you need, if you don't have time to do something little, but you need someone to do it with, you know, minimal skill, then pay someone to do it, delegate it. But if you're at a point where you're offering a lot of value and you're investing in your business, that's when I believe, like all of you believe, that you need to invest in a good designer or a copywriter or whatever when you're at that stage. But I think it's really wrong that, and I didn't get to see that thread because it didn't load properly for me, but I think it's just really wrong that someone would put someone else down because they're not at the same stage of business as that person. Like that, to me, like, that makes me feel really upset. Why would you discourage someone at that point of the game if they're just trying to get started and they're trying to bootstrap? There's nothing wrong with doing something cheaply, and if it's good enough value for you to just get something out there. Like, I feel like that just, I hope a lot of people didn't see that thread, because I feel like a lot of people would be turned off by even trying. So hopefully that didn't happen, but yeah, use with your discretion, and when you feel that it's right to invest and you have enough behind your brand, then yes, pay highly for something of really great quality.
No, I agree, and I think as a business owner, you should view it differently, because Fiverr if you're a graphic designer, if you're a website, Fiverr creates this whole like funnel or just cutoff for the people you don't want to work with anyway. You know what I mean? And I use so long story short, a couple years ago, I had this extravagant idea for this bakery, which would include dogs and people. So I said, you know what, I'm going to start really getting involved in the cake decorating world. So I took these classes and decided there's no way in the hell I ever want to get into this world. But I follow these bakers, and they get so angry at the mom who's at home that does crap cakes and charges $20 for them. And they get so angry. And it's like, no, this is good, because you get to automatically just cipher out the customers you don't want to work with, who are going to question your value, who are going to question what you're doing, who are, you know, like, I understand, like, if they don't understand your value, you don't want to work with them anyway. Let them go pay that crap and get crap back, and then, you know, come to you and understand your value, and then next time around they get it. And I feel like Fiverr does that too, or Groupon does that. Like, it ciphers out the people if you really feel you're at that level and that's what you charge and that's what your value is, you get rid of those people right away. You don't even have to answer their phone calls. You don't have to answer anything, because there's no way in hell they're going to pay anything above $10. And it's like, good riddance. I don't want to deal with that's how I always viewed my business. It's like, if you're cheap, I provide high quality value. I don't want to work with you anyway. Like, until you're ready to, when you understand the value of this and you want to pay it and you want to do this, that's when I want to work with you. But go to those, there's nothing wrong with going to those other places before, but that's how I would think it's a good thing, because it just ciphers out the crap. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean,
that's the other side. Sorry. That's the other side of that, of being like a freelancer or like a consultant like we are, is being on that, well, I know what value I provide, and I'm not scared to tell anyone how much I charge, because you know by working with me, or you will know that you're going to get value out of it. Like, just being a freelancer and stuff, I think that's the person, one of my clients basically, who pays me, one, he has a company backing him, so it's easier to kind of just, give that money and give that payment. So they're already at that established stage of, yeah, I'll invest in something that's going to be of value. Because let's face it, there's a virtual assistant that could do any of the stuff that we do, but it's not the same person, it's not the same personality, it's not the same work ethic. Like, it comes down to what you actually exude in your conversation with that person of the value that you provide. So,
well, and I think it brings up a point, and maybe Chandra, you can talk to this too, but for the people who are angry that people are going to Fiverr, maybe it's time to educate your clients about, like, what is a good graphic designer, what is a good copywriter, what is, so like they understand what they're getting. Like, I know, and just because I've been in business for so long, that when you're getting a logo designed, it's not just design it for me, it's like, what are you thinking? What do you want it to portray? Okay, here's some ideas. Okay, I didn't like this. I like this. It's like this back and forth process. And somebody new in business doesn't get that. So I think a lot of it's, and for the people who are angry at the Fiverr people, educate your clients.
Well, and educate yourself. I think one of the hardest things, especially as women and women in business, is like understanding your value, right? Like, know your value. Ask for that rate. Like, it is a huge problem in the entire business world, and it takes a long time for people to price things, because they even, like, I mean, everybody's been through it here. I mean, we've all been in business, so we all know, right? Everybody's shaking their heads, just like, it's really hard to price something because you have to find this equal balance. But, like, number one, the starting step is what you value yourself. And a hard thing is people still see, like, I don't believe in competition, right? And I think I've mentioned this before. There is no competition. Like, you are the only one that can do you, and no one else can do that. So, like, while all the information is out there on the interwebs, somebody is in your community asking you to provide a service for them for a reason, and that's because they jive with who you are, right? Like, I can't have someone in my community that is, like, needs to be, like, petted and, like, everything's gonna be okay. Maybe he meant that, like, look, girl, like, get out. Like, whatever. Like, you are worth this amount, and if you don't see that value, whatever you value yourself is what other people are going to value you. And there's this siphon, like, you don't want, if you think that those people at Fiverr or anywhere else, 99 Designs is another one, right, like, that people go crazy about. If you think those people are stealing your business, then you obviously haven't, like, you're trying to get everyone into your funnel, which is, like, number one, no good. You have to have a target market. You just have to. And if you do not define that before you really start your business, you are going to be
Marketing 101.
Out of luck, right? Like, you're not going to go very far. And in that case, which it happens, like, you have to have failures in order to succeed. And if you have no failures, it means you're not trying hard enough. If you haven't fallen flat on your face, it means that you are just playing the safe game, and nothing is going to come from it. Like, I love this week's episode of Startup, which is the Alex Bloomberg's podcast, and everything in that, and I know, Megan, I don't know if you're caught up yet on that podcast, but everything in that is pretty much why I mentioned in a past episode, I would love to look up, and that we mentioned on this show, on why I didn't like initially jump on investment when I found out about it even before it was on the podcast. And it is because of, it sounded like Alex Bloomberg wanted to start a lifestyle business, not a startup. And there was a lot of people and chatters in especially podcast rooms and different communities that we're in, that people are just like, hey, you know, this value is like so high. And it's like, there is a difference between starting $1 million company and starting a lifestyle business, and you have to know where you stand on that. Do you want to start a startup where you want to go for VC? Most of us are not in it for that game. Most of us are in it so we want to live a cushy life, multiple six figures, and we'd be happy, you know, like whatever, you can step back and do that. But it's not this other game that I think a lot of people, especially, you know, like that's who we look to when we're starting businesses, because we're like, this person was successful, so this must be the path, right? These people have, you know, Coca-Cola, you look at these big brands and say they have their branding down. Yeah, they have their branding down. Their entire company is based on marketing. So you're a lifestyle business. Anybody that's listening to this probably is a lifestyle business. So go to Fiverr, feel your way out, like, but know your audience, know your market, and know who you ideally want to work with, because you do not want to work with we cheapos, probably, right? At least not for some stuff.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull it back to the same discussion. I'm just gonna like take it to like my own goals this year and some of the things that I've done. And I DIY'd my business for 2 years. My first 2 websites I did completely 100%. I mean, I made the logo. I didn't even go to Fiverr to make the logo. I made the logo, you know, myself. But I will say, and I was just thinking about this as you all were talking, episode one of our podcast, when we were talking about what have we learned in business, I remember that what I said I learned in business is that you have to invest in your business. You have to invest. And I'm not talking about like that I'm not saying you're bad, or I'm not trying to shame anyone for bootstrapping. I bootstrapped for a long time. And that's how you get started. That's how you figure out what your market is. But I do think, and it's not that like this design is better than this design. It's also like, Chandra, what you were saying about like even the value that you put on yourself, like this is a business, this isn't a hobby. I am worth it as a business owner. I hired a designer on retainer last summer, and it made me want to throw up when I would see that money leave my PayPal account. And my business quadrupled. Did she quadruple my business? No. I mean, her design is amazing. But I started if I was investing that much money, I was going to get my stupid opt-in page up on time. I wasn't going to put it off anymore. I was good. You know, so I do think there's something to be said for making that decision to invest in your business. Do I think you're bad if you DIY it? Do I think you're bad if you go to Fiverr? Not at all. And this is my one other example, and then I'll shut it down. One of my big goals for this year personally was to outsource more and to kind of, you know, to hire some more people and to outsource more. And I already have an awesome VA who charges, you know, X number of dollars. And I recently hired a writer to help me with some of my content that I'm creating. And she charges about 3 times or 4 times what my VA charges. And so recently she was working on a post for me that was going to include a bunch of quotes. So she got the post kind of put together, and she's like, okay, well, just send me the quotes and I'll include them. And I went, I don't need to pay you 4 times the amount. I can have my VA cut and paste quotes. You know, I feel like that's just good. Like that's just a financial decision, right, Andrea? I mean, that's just making a good financial decision, is that I am happy to pay her rates because her writing is incredible and she does a great job. I'm happy to pay her rates for what she delivers, but I don't need to pay her rates for cutting and pasting. And I think that's the same thing we're talking about with Fiverr. I love my designer. I actually just decided to increase the amount that I'm paying my designer. But if I want to go to Fiverr to get some stupid PDF done, then it's a waste of her time. It's and it's a waste of my money to do that. So I think it's a financial decision too. Anyway, I don't even know what I just said, but there's my rant.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, I was going to say, I think you'll appreciate this too, Andrea. Earlier, I was going to compare it to drinking alcohol. and there's that warning label, on the back, if you drink too much or if you're pregnant, like, don't drink. Like, a little too much Fiverr is going to make you want to throw up, like Megan was saying. With, spend that money, leave your bank account. Like, you just have to, it's user discretion, like, advised.
So you're saying drink what you get from the random guy on the street should be a warning?
As long as he's earthy. Then.
I actually wanted to say, I think bootstrapping is investing in your company. So I think that's a kind of a misnomer. Like, I think people get investing in their company, like people are thinking, I've got to pour thousands in this. But when you're taking your revenues and you're reinvesting it back into the company, that's investing in the company. And it is all about just kind of the scale, So in the beginning, you start out. So my first time of hiring a website designer, 8 years into the business. I did it all myself up to then. So it is about that. What am I willing to pay? What can I afford to pay? Where am I at in my business? If you don't have a ton of clients and you're brand new starting out, your hiney better be doing it yourself and not hiring the most expensive person, because A, you're going to have to do it again, and B, that's not where your business is. So it is this scale, and you have to find where you're at on the scale and make the right decisions for you and your business and ignore everybody else.
Yeah, and I think that's like the main thing about life, right? Like, F them. Like, nobody else can, like, we care too much for too long in our lives about what other people think of us and where we're getting stuff from. And I think whatever gets you unstuck, like Megan, you got unstuck, like it motivated you, right? And it's the same, I tell people on my photography site, I've told people for a long time, like, I'm not about gear at all, right? But if buying that new camera is going to make you go out and take pictures, it's not going to make you take better pictures. Like, it's not about the equipment, but it's going to go out and make you take pictures timely, like, right, and post and do whatever. The same way, like, investing in your site did that. But the same way, yes, I mean, like, if you are more of a DIY person, but like, don't fall into the Superman attitude where you can do it all yourself, right? Like, you do need to outsource. And Fiverr, I mean, honestly, it is outsourcing. I mean, you're admitting to yourself that you need a little bit of help with this, but you're not only paying with money, you're paying with time, because you're going to actually also have to modify whatever it is you get back from that, or pay more than $5 for whatever it is you have. So it is whatever works for anybody, but like, really be aware on not only how much money you're spending on something, but how much time you're investing in that as well. Because usually when something costs more, you're saving time, right? And so, like, if you have the money and not the time, spend the money, right? And like, get that more polished thing so that you don't have to polish it, right? And do it. But if it's something that'll just move you forward, like, I had the hardest time for Moxie Moguls getting my profile, my LinkedIn profile up, and I just couldn't do it. So I went to Fiverr and I gave him an outline of all the things I've done in the past 20 years, and this guy wrote this like really cool thing, and it wasn't perfect, but it just got me unstuck. So I think whatever motivates any person to move forward and not have this precious idea that this logo needs to be perfect, everything needs to be perfect. It's just like this really big trap that everything is so precious. I think that's when people fall into, like, the people that are shaming wherever it is you get your stuff from, right? Like, it's not, if it's not out there, if you're not willing to put it out there to the world, then it's nothing. It's never going to make you money. So onward. There's no bad choice. There's no wrong answers, I guess.
No, I agree. And like I said, I met with a client last night in our conversation. I'm like, just go out on Fiverr and get your logo started. Because she's like, overwhelmed by this whole thing. I just don't know where to begin. And I'm like, just go get if this is that block, like you said, Chandra, if this is that one block that's going to keep you from putting out whatever because she's going to do a fashion blog, and I begged her. I said, "Can you just please do one thing for me every season? Just say, okay, get this particular crap out of your closet, and you can't wear it anymore, versus this is going to be good for another year." And I'm like, that would just save my life. So I need you to do this, okay? I need you for myself to do this. And if you could please if the logo is the one thing that's blocking you, go get it done for $5 and just let it grow with your business, you know? Like, I mean, it was selfish on my part, I'm not going to lie, but just let it grow with your business. Like, just keep it. And that's where I feel like these people were like, it has to be, you know, so-and-so's been doing this for 6 years, and we sideways look all the time. Like, well, they've been doing it for, theirs is so amazing. Well, you know what? There was a post that went out last year, I think it was, and it listed, like, all the people we know now and what they look like when they started, what their websites looked like when they started, and what, you know, we forget that everybody has to start somewhere, and I never want to shame anyone. Like, be professional. Your brand is a consistent message. Just go with that. Like, make sure you have a message. You know who you're going to want to serve. Start there, and then you can build this whole branding thing. But I don't like putting others down or telling them they're bad or they're stupid because they tried to do it themselves, or went to Fiverr for $5, and maybe they learned the hard way. But if they're learning the hard way, hopefully they're paying you more money to do it the right way, you know?
And a logo is not a brand, guys. Just like
Exactly.
a reminder, like everybody. I mean, and we all know this because we've all been in business, but I think a lot of people when they're starting out really get stuck with this, that a logo, like the logo needs to be perfect, and the logo, I need to trademark it, and this precious idea of it. That is not a brand. A brand is this whole thing. And yes, get a brand consultant. If you're going to spend money, I would highly recommend getting a brand consultant and then saving money on some of the other stuff, at least in the meantime. But yeah, that, and I think after I had my first child, I wanted to get one of those black bars to just walk around in, so I can just wear yoga pants everywhere. That's what I do.
And when it comes down to it, I mean, some of the people, especially in LA, I've noticed, that make the most money have the crappiest websites. So it's really not all about how great your website is. People are still going to give you money because they like you. So.
Well, I agree. And so I'll give an example of my lawyer. So if you talk to a lot of lawyers, they're like, you have got to LLC with us. You cannot do anything without talking to a lawyer because you will get sued and lose everything, right? So here's my lawyer. I refer him out to everyone because I adore him. So I'm sitting in his office one day, and I have him on retainer, and I use him for what I need to use him for. And I said, Bob, I have to trademark my business name. I really have to trademark this. So what do you charge? What, you know? And he goes, this is Bob. I love Bob. But he's like, Erin, you're a smart girl. You know what you're doing. I'll charge you $1,500 to do it. I have no problem. If you really want me to do it, I will charge you $1,500 to do it. But I'm going to tell you, the process is pretty easy. If you have questions, I'm here for you. And otherwise, if you want to try, I mean, I understand if you are full of time and you can't do this, but I'm going to tell you, you're going to save a lot of money if you just go do it yourself. And it's not that hard. You'll figure it out. But I'm always here if you have questions. Bob just saved me $1,300 because I just took an hour of my time and figured out how to trademark my name. Has Bob lost business? No, not really, because I am on a podcast right now with how many listeners singing his praises. I send everybody to him, and he's there if I need him, but he's not like, you have got to do everything through me because you're going to crash and burn and you are the crappiest business owner if you don't think about this. Like, he tells me what's important, what I need him for, but he also is like, you know, like a friend of mine and I, who she introduced me to Bob, but we're going to start a segment of the Starters Club, and he's like, just go LLC it yourself. Like, you guys are fine. There's nothing that's special that you guys need. Just go do it. If you need me, I'm here, but don't. And I love that. I love that so much, and that's what I feel like. So many people are just trying to justify so hard what they're worth, but they just forget that, you know what, you don't need some of this stuff, and just go pay for the bigger stuff. Spend your money on the bigger stuff that you need as you need it, but you don't have to go spend $1 quadrillion just to be relevant. So that's my Bob example. I love it. I'm like, Bob, you're awesome. And I just like submitted and got the email that my trademark went through. I'm like, ah. So Anyway, I don't know if I know we're running low on time. I don't know if anybody has anything else to say.
Congratulations on your trademark.
Thank you. I'm very
That's
now. I
awesome.
gotta do the worldwide thing. I got the
formal.
email. Yeah.
That's very cool. Yeah, and I need to suggest Bob to someone I'm trying to invest in, a company I'm trying to invest in, because yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get you Bob's name. Bob's pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie. All right. Anybody else have anything? Because we're at our time. I know everybody's gotta. All right. Well, this has been a great conversation. It did not disappoint. I'm so glad everybody got their input. Like I said, come over and join us on our Facebook group over at bit.ly/nobusiness, and we will see you guys next week. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.